A very good afternoon to all our panelists and attendees.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome, Paddy, to this session.
Yeah, good afternoon.
So I would like to first have a warm welcome to all the attendees. We have a very interesting session this afternoon. And I know all of you are pretty confused during this COVID time. There's so much of overload of information that you really don't know how to decide what is right or what is wrong. The entire dynamics have changed. Even the dynamics of what the educators were propagating and all the rules, everything has suddenly come to a different change. So today we have a very interesting topic, shifting trends and career choices in the new COVID world. While this is very relevant to all the educationists over here, it is also extremely relevant for us. So let me just share my example to set the tone of this session. For the last 25 years, we've been organizing, just a moment please, 1 second. 1 second, I'm just having one network issue. Yes, for the last 25 years, we've been doing on-ground activities and we were conducting education fairs across the world. Suddenly, this COVID completely changed the rules of the game. So while for all the 25 years, the visitors were coming to the on-ground fair and we had to adapt and get the education fair to the visitors' home. So we have also managed to adapt using technology. So I think this was a great learning curve for us. So with this, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Biswajoy Chatterjee. He is the Vice Chancellor, University of Engineering and Management, Jaipur. Welcome on the platform, sir.
Hello.
Professor Rajeshwari, she is the Dean and Head Electronics and Communication Engineering at Acharya Institute of Technology from Bangalore. Welcome, ma'am. And we have our rock star, Mr. Paddy. He's the Chief Knowledge Officer of QS iGauge and he's been conducting these workshops. QS iGauge is the knowledge partner for the virtual admissions fair that we have launched. QS iGauge is India's first nationwide comprehensive and independent rating system for Indian colleges and universities. So I think I'll hand over for Mr. Paddy to start off and roll the conversation forward. So Paddy, over to you. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, good evening. It's indeed a great privilege to represent QS iGauge on the FAIRS platform. I should congratulate Affairs for making sure that the students continue to interact with institutions and can make an informed decision of joining universities even during COVID times. This is absolutely innovation worthwhile, I would say, taking forward in future also, because it reduces what I call as a transaction cost. So it helps people to come together and reduce the cost also. So when I was writing down this topic, shifting trends and career choices in the new COVID world, I was basically thinking and reflecting from students and parents who are two important stakeholders in deciding choices or career choices today. Sometimes it is due to the parents, the student tend to select a good career choice, and sometimes student him or herself makes a very important choice. But I think COVID-19 has absolutely rattled, career choices today. Students are very confused, more so ever during the COVID world, because they're not very sure or they're very uncertain about the potential career choices they plan to make and the kind of employment that these career choices could potentially create. You look at any career today, it has taken a job, you look at aviation, for example. You look at hospitality, for example. You look at any career, it is going through a very rough patch. So how students ought to make or continue to make those career choices in the COVID world is something which students want to hear from the educators like you. So I would want to welcome the panelists today, Professor Dr. Biswajoy Chatterjee, Vice Chancellor, and also Professor Rajeshwari ma'am, who is the Dean and Head of Electronics Department at the Acharya Institute. So today I would really want you to reflect, how do you see your own disciplines planning out in years to come or during COVID, and how are you facilitating students to make and take career choices in your own discipline. I think this information would be very critical and very valid, because there is more chaos, and there is students are in fact wanting to take a gap year and not join any institutions because they're not very clear what is going to happen. So the forum is to you. Please take 10 minutes to reflect, and then we'll come back on Q&A session. I would hand over the mic now to Professor Dr. Biswajoy Chak.
See, the thing is that once this COVID thing started, immediately the decision had to be taken that how the current syllabus is to be addressed, how the current syllabus has to be converted or to maybe online mode, or how is it to be given to the students. It had to be decided. So first and foremost, without any ray of doubt, it entirely shifted to the online mode. The whole study the students attended in online mode, the theoretical classes, the laboratories and everything had to be shifted to online mode. And it is technically possible. Theoretical studies is not that too big a question, because you can understand, because of all these online platforms, because of this web conferencing platforms like Zoom is one of them which we are using today, it is highly possible to conduct the theoretical classes. As far as the laboratories are concerned, there are also several options of doing laboratories online. Like the Government of India, Ministry of HRD has launched this virtual laboratory platform, which has enabled the students to be shown the different equipments, the different things on a screen, and then show how to work upon it. So a laboratory is also possible in the online mode. So apart from that, now if I come to the coming batches, that is the students who are aspiring now, those who are aspiring to be engineers, graduates, managers, or any graduate whatsoever, what is the methodology, or what course they should opt for, or what course they are thinking to opt for, or should they lose a year or should not they? I should say always that, see, losing a year is never a good option, because when the options are available, when you can attend all classes online, when you can attend the laboratories online, even an exam can be conducted online. As you can understand, an examination, you can give questions which are analytical questions. The one you call open book, I will not call it open book, but analytical questions, where the students don't get the answer straightforward by looking into a book or studying from a book, but has to apply his or her analysis in order to answer that. So those questions, providing those questions to the students and getting them to write it, scan it and upload it, might provide a way to conduct the examinations also. And so many companies are coming up with the examination platform also. It is never a good thing to lose a year, I would say. Secondly, how, if they apply, if the aspirants are going for admission this year, then what are the courses which are going to be good? Now, the thing is, the courses which are going to be good, that really depends. If I talk about engineering, see, I am representing University of Engineering and Management, UEM Jaipur, where engineering is a flagship course. So I will slightly take a bend towards engineering. My points might be a bit focused towards engineering. As far as engineering is concerned, all of you will agree that nowadays this AI, artificial intelligence, be it IoT, be it machine learning, that is going to take a big role. As you can understand, in the medical profession also, it is a time when the doctors are avoiding to go near a patient or avoiding to touch the patient as much as possible. They want to avoid touching the patient. In that case, a robot might be a very good option to carry medicines through a tray or water, medicine, all this thing to a patient, which is highly a possibility. And we are seeing in Jaipur, in SMS hospital, that thing is fully, or maybe very much, it is an option. So I can say this AI, this thing will really come up in a big way. So those students who are thinking about engineering will also definitely consider AI as an option. Next, another option is IoT, Internet of Things. Those students who are studying, thinking about engineering, Internet of Things. We are not wanting to go to office and work with the equipments on hand. We are trying to avoid that as much as possible. Now, if you are trying to avoid that, then controlling your machines in the factory or the machines in the industry right from your home is a requirement. And that is possible through Internet of Things. If you allow the things to communicate amongst one another, then this is highly possible. So people are looking for IoT. Another option people are looking for maybe automobile engineering, like in mechanical. If we are thinking about, say, a car, a battery operated vehicle or an electric vehicle, then an electric vehicle nowadays we will be looking for, in future we'll be looking for to develop in India, because people, emotion or sentiment of people is moving against China. So we don't want to purchase Chinese products. We don't want to purchase a battery operated vehicle or an electric vehicle from China. We want to manufacture it in India itself. So there is a huge opportunity for automobile engineers to choose mechanical and then go for automobile engineering. So these are the several options that are possible. When you're talking about banking system, somebody is going for an MBA and he's thinking whether banking system is an option. I would say yes, banks with a good balance in their hand or a good pocket, I would say, will do good in future also, though there is a high chance of several companies not to provide, to go for a bad debt. Banks might go for several bad debts in future, but then those companies who can afford those banks who can afford has got a huge opportunity to provide loans for new companies or new types of companies to come up, to the new entrepreneurs, and to make profit out of it. So yes, banking is also a good option, maybe coming up in future, in coming maybe 5 years. So those students who are looking for it, I would say 2 years, a best time to be in is a university. There is going to be 30% reshuffling of jobs. Jobs are going to be shuffled between one place to another. So you should take this opportunity to be in a university, be in an institute, and maybe gather knowledge to join in any organization which would suit you, maybe after 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years.
There are one or two questions which students have immediately raised. You may want to note it down, or I can come in the Q&A session.
Yeah, I can see the Q&A. Do you want me to answer?
Now, I think one question which I thought is important. You mentioned about online lab classes. You said that the labs can also go online. Yes. Can you elaborate a bit more on what kind of simulations you use? Because let me be very honest. There has been a huge parents and students have been investing on education, and they are somehow convinced with F2F model so far. Now, if that shift is going to take place in the future, immediate future, when you want to invite the new batch and put them on online, there is going to be some element of doubt, because you need to know that not every student is trained, not all faculty are trained to actually conduct online classes. So the question is very valid by Urvi, who's asking that is there a possibility of online lab classes, and how does it work? So basically they're asking you a question on what kind of simulations you use and how these simulations work. So probably you could reflect on that before I welcome the next speaker to speak.
Okay, Mr. Chopra, Mr. Pradeep, can you please put your video on? We would like to have a look at you. Please put your microphone off, Mr. Chopra.
Yeah, is it okay?
Yes, it's okay. So to all the attendees and all the panelists, I would like to welcome Mr. Pradeep Chopra. He's the chairman of the Institute of Leadership, Entrepreneurship and Development, iLead, based out of Calcutta. He's also the chairman and managing director of the Kolkata-based PS Group. So he brings with him immense knowledge in entrepreneurship, and I'm sure he's going to add a different dimension to today's discussion. So thank you, Mr. Chopra, for joining in. Paddy, now you can take over.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Joy, if you could reflect on that question, I think after that we'll pass on to the next speaker. Yeah.
Professor Paddy, Urvi, and all attendees, I would like to make you focus towards two things. Number one, what we are doing or what we are talking about is a temporary thing. All of us believe from the core of our heart that what we are doing is a temporary thing. We will be doing this online thing we are talking about is not a permanent one, because world will smile again. Things will be normal again. everything will be normal. We'll come back to the classes. You will be staying in your hostels. You will be interacting with your friends. You will be attending classes. So what we are doing firstly is temporary. Online lab classes can be held temporarily. Yes, if you are talking about it permanently, you need to touch the machine, have the feeling, have the machine work on actuals in front of you in order to get the real feeling to be a real engineer. But then, for the time being, for few months, it is possible that the labs are totally held online. The platforms I'm going to talk about, firstly, if you are an electronics or an electrical engineer, most of the laboratories that you do are in MATLAB. What is MATLAB? MATLAB is a simulation software you use in your computer. What you do is you sit in your laboratory and use MATLAB. You can do that from your home. You can absolutely do that from your home, and you share the screen with your teacher and the teacher guides you. If you are a computer science engineer, most of the time you spend in programming, be it in Python, be it in C, be it in Java. So again, you can do the same thing. You can use this Python, C, Java on the computer at your home and not at your laboratory, and share the screen with your teacher and help the teacher guide you. So it is highly possible. Yes, there are certain equipments like maybe operating the lathe machine, operating the CNC machine. Those things might be tough. But then again, using the virtual laboratory, it is vlab.co.in, an initiative of the Ministry of HRD, Government of India. Using that, those equipments can be brought on your screen and shown. But to get the real feeling, yes, you need to have the equipments in front of you for those things. But I assure you, those things will also come. And one more question I will answer, Professor Paddy, as you told, that are all students equipped to do online? I want again all of you to appreciate that. How many of us were so much confident in using this platform? We have all learned it once the need, once the necessity was there. Most of us, maybe 80%, if I am not wrong, it might be 90% also. People actually started using this meeting format, started using this webinar format, started using this online format of teaching, online format of discussing. All these things started only when it was a requirement after this lockdown was announced. So yes, all students will gradually learn. There might be some issues with internet, but those things will definitely be taken care of. Those things will be definitely taken over, taken care of. And I'm sure that in few days, students will also learn how to do it, and let this be also part of their learning. But then again, saying all that, please believe and please appreciate that we will all smile again. Students will again come to classes. Teachers will also take classes physically and not through this virtual mode. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Joy. As much as I am also very positive, but I just wanted to caution that things are not looking very good as we speak. The number of cases are increasing, and I think the government is really worried about the second wave and the third wave of COVID-19. And I feel that the first semester, some of the foreign institutions like Cambridge, Harvard, top universities across the world have all announced that the first semester for the new upcoming batch will be online.
Absolutely.
I'm sure many universities in India may also go in that route. So keeping that in mind, it is very important that how we communicate to the new coming batch, how we take the holistic learning experience to them is actually going to be the defining moment of, I would say, a new institution building process for all the universities. Thank you so much, Dr. Biswai. Very interesting points, and thank you so much for reflecting on the question. Let me just bring the spotlight back to Professor Rajeshwari ma'am. I know you've been heading an institute, for electronics department, and also, engineering is a discipline well followed in Bangalore. But you also know that things are changing a bit as we speak. Sciences was in the mainstream. Now you have many options for students like humanities, design, which have started catching up to or challenging the traditional streams like STEM. During COVID, especially, the challenge is going to be much more because STEM, which was traditionally a job-oriented course, is going to find very difficult to place students. We are all foreseeing in the near future that there could be a recession, and that could first hit the IT companies more than any other sector. So how are you planning to prepare your current students, for the challenges that could be foreseen in the near future, and also what your message will be for the new upcoming batch, which is planning to look at engineering and STEM as their discipline? Ma'am, you need to unmute.
Yeah, audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Come this March 2020, all of us have seen this unprecedented environment, what all of us are totally unaware. It was not in the sample space of our lives, right? So what we planned at the campus, I'll just talk about what we did to keep our students and all the stakeholders in a motivated pattern. Okay. So let me first talk about the teaching learning process, how we kept our students engaged from the month of March till date. Okay. All of us were aware of this digital platform of teaching learning. Since 60% of us were aware in the campus of this digital platform of learning, it was easy for us to shift to this total e-platform of learning. So what we started off with, initially we started off with the available platforms for learning. In a few weeks, we started with our own platform called alive.university, wherein we had our own space, our own mode of teaching learning. We connected with the students for both the theory and the labs. Yes, of course, with the support of the virtual lab of the MHRD initiative. Since it was our own platform, it was easy for us to reach a max of the students, say around 70 to 80% of the students. Okay. We had our own servers at our place, which could cater nearly 300 students at a time. And what we went on is, apart from this digital platform of teaching learning, we also looked into the laboratories. As Dr. Bishwas was telling about the simulations, we looked into the simulation aspects with respect to the circuit branches, with respect to the programming streams, programming courses, with respect to simulations, with respect to the CAD modeling or the mechanical and the automobile and the avionics. So with platforms are like simulators like MATLAB, or it was like open source platforms. Most of them were open source apart from MATLAB and this Cadence tools and all. We looked into keeping the students engaged with not the physical hardware. I definitely understand the physical hardware experimentation is totally way different experience. Yes, but we kept our students engaged with this simulation platform with respect to both circuit branches, the mechanical branches. Not only that, we also looked into the aeronautical, automobile, and all these branches. Okay, so that was our digital platform of learning. Yes, initially there was a few hitches in the first few weeks. Later on, the students also picked up along with the faculty. Yes, like what Dr. Vishwas was telling, how many of us had got into this digital platform? And today, if I look into my faculty, the faculty have really started enjoying this digital platform of teaching learning. So this is what our efforts went into the digital platform of learning. Apart from this teaching learning process, we also keep our students engaged with the government initiated NPTEL courses, the SWAYAM courses, the Coursera courses. Not only that, we keep our students live with the concepts, what is being taught in through the guided projects, be it in the Coursera. The guided projects are really a very good initiatives which keeps the student engaged. So this is our teaching learning process. And coming to the evaluation in the digital platform, how we have thought about this, we have kept students in clusters. Clusters and the assignments are pulled. The online tests have been pulled through our own platforms using alive.university. It's called alive.university, which is our own platform wherein we conduct our evaluations. And today's newspaper, if you see, we have a few enthusiastic engineering graduates who have come up with platforms for evaluation itself. We have some startups which have come up in today's newspapers, which are totally engrossed into this digital learning and the evaluation platforms. Okay, that's a very good sign for this digital platform. So if you ask me, the first question is about the digital learning platform. The next one is why the student has to opt into an engineering or a and will this COVID affect the students taking up the engineering and the management courses? I will not say it will affect so badly, because as we have seen, I look at the thrust areas, the boom of the Internet of Things, the boom of artificial, trigger of the smart materials, the trigger of the biomaterials and the biosciences has paved way to students or the budding aspirant students to take up a stream, not only a computer science stream or vertical. It doesn't say it's electronics or it is computer science or it is mechanical. If I look at intelligence or Internet of Things or smart materials, they sit on a upper platform. Below these three, I look at all the other streams which will embrace these verticals or the artificial intelligence. They embrace, be it mechanical engineering or the avionics or the computer science or the electronics or the electrical. They embrace these three technologies, be it for be it for chip technologies, be it for energy, be it for automotive vehicles, or be it for data analytics, or be it for working sector. Okay, if you ask me, since I belong to engineering and management stream, I look at, yes, we do have opportunities, be it in any engineering stream, provided I stress upon, provided we embrace the current technologies which are in market today. The current technologies are smart materials, the IoT and the artificial intelligence, provided we embrace it. Okay, so these are the opportunities. And coming to at this scenario, if a student enters into engineering, what is his role and what is the institution's role to see that we enter as a student, or if I enter as a engineering student into an institution, I need to look at blending my academics, along with industry atmosphere. I need to surface with the industry. I need to do my learning of engineering along with an industry, be it as an internship, be it as a project which is being these activities to these students is the next biggest question. Okay, if you look at today, I simply providing a degree certificate to a student will definitely not help, Mr. Paddy. What you certificate will never hold a career for the student. Okay, if the student blends with both academics and the required supported through either center of excellences, or either through industry setup labs in the campus, or through a virtual platform. If you're talking of the virtual platform, yes, through virtual platforms of an industry setup in the campus. So this is along with the academics if it wants to see the students in its campus.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking this question so straight and letting me know that technology will survive only if institutions, embrace new ideas of technology and new aspects of technology which are upcoming. And I think that's a very fair point. And the second point, which you also said that, how many institutions in India actually are providing industry-based, project-based, and experiential learning to students as part of engineering studies. I think that is going to go through, that will be the next disruption.
Yeah.
We are going to take the students out of the classrooms and make sure that they get the skills which are actually important for employability vis-a-vis just theoretical courses inside the classroom. I think that disruption is yet to come into Indian engineering schools. I think I am looking forward for that disruption. And some engineering schools are already preparing for it, and the engineering schools which prepare will probably the ones who would survive, because the national education policy is also emphasizing a lot on skill-based education in in technical schools. Thank you so much for reflecting on those 2 points. It's a very welcoming suggestion, welcoming note, and I'm sure students are taking note of this. One question which I thought I could just pose to you may not be directly relevant to you, but I just thought there is a student by name Manish. He's asking, since the foreign universities are all going the first semester online, would you advise the students to join institutions abroad and study online? Because the option with Indian universities could also be the same, given the way the COVID situation is, is taking shape. So what would your suggestions be? If a student has a choice to study in India and study abroad, and since both are online, the risk is lesser. So he's asking, what should he do?
Okay, let me take this question. Whether it is a UG program or a PG program, it's a PG or a UG?
I think it could be a UG program. First semester, so it's a UG.
Okay, if it's a UG program, and if he finds, definitely we have institutions in India which are, if you look at the NIRF ranking, we do have institutions of excellence in India also. So I prefer, let him prefer an institution wherein he has his own area where I need to excel. Let him prefer an institution in India, pick up a UG program, develop his skill set, work with an industry when he's doing his engineering alongside. Then if he finds a project, or if he finds a professor working in his own domain, or interested the domain, a professor in US or a professor in Germany has a project funded related to his particular domain. If it is so, definitely he can opt a program after his UG for a PG there.
Okay. So the answer is, you have choices.
I need to be very particular at today's scenario. Which domain I need to excel, which industry I need to join, or do I need to be an entrepreneur in this particular sector? I have to be very specific.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Manish, I think that's a very straightforward response to your question that, the UG needs to be, always preferred to be studied in India, because it probably creates a great foundation if you are planning to come back to India. So that's the, answer. So I will now move on to the third speaker for the day, Professor Pradeep Chopra, who is the chairman of iLead. The question would be very specific to you, sir. We are all aware of the shifting trends, shifting trends where students are having difficulty to make their career choices. And you tend to represent a very interesting aspect of that career choice, which has been, I would say the lead in the last 10 years, which is entrepreneurship and leadership in India. So I would really want you to reflect, given the way, the code, I was recently reading that the entrepreneurial ventures which started last 6 months are all closing down because of lack of financial support, and they are having very less idea how to sustain during these times, because let's be honest, this has been a black swan movement. Nobody even witnessed that something like this could hit us, and I don't remember when banking institutions extended moratorium on loans. I don't even remember anything like that happening. So given all these situations which are like something which we are experiencing, what would your advise for those young students who are coming into institutions thinking and wanting to be entrepreneurs? What would your suggestion to them will be, and what kind of planning they need to do? Because I think entrepreneurship is also hit big time during COVID.
See, India has a great crisis management history. If you start from 1960s, we had a tremendous food shortage, beg from US, shiploads of food which came under PL 488. And we didn't even have to have money to pay, so we got it for free. But after that, India became the world's biggest producer of food. In 1962, we had a humiliating defeat from China, And then you built your armed forces. In 1971, you liberated a country and you set an examples. And the strategy of 1971 war is taught as a textbook case in 140 military academy of the world. You know, all countries, including Pakistan. You see, in 1991, your foreign exchange reserve went down to 1 billion, enough to pay for 1 week's import. And you see, Manmohan Singh and Narasimha Rao opened the economy. Today, you have $500 billion food, reserve, and people were scared that foreign companies will come. If you open the Indian economy, they'll take over Indian companies. What happened was just reverse. Indian went and took the foreign companies. I personally feel that after this COVID pandemic, there'll be a great economic revival. It will be a V curve. There'll be a tremendous opportunity coming. There are various reasons. We don't have so much time to tell you why this will happen. I can see it is happening already in real estate. It is going to happen in retail. It is going to happen accepting travel and tourism and entertainment. That is only the cinema halls. There'll be a boom time, and therefore, anybody who's wanting to start business, this is the time to plan. This is the best time to plan, and by the time 6 months and 1 year's time, when this pandemic is going to go away, let me tell you, see, what is going to happen is there'll be a tremendous shortage of all items because all the production, construction, everything is stalled, and there'll be huge market demand which the supplies will not be able to match. See, when there is an excess supply, it is very difficult for a newcomer to enter because the existing player is also struggling to sell. When there is a shortage, when there is a demand which cannot be met by the existing manufacturer or supplier, that is the time when the newcomer can come because that is the existing player cannot meet the demand. Therefore, this time should not be taken as depressing time or somebody. This is the time we should see as an opportunity, and the moment the whole things start reversing, that is the time when the new entrepreneurs should launch their business extreme. They will do extreme. This is the answer to your question, what the upcoming entrepreneurs should do. And they should definitely use the new technology because a lot of disruption is happening in the existing business model, and that is the chance of the newcomer because then they can easily unsettle a person who's already established business, because established businesses will be slow to adopt new technology. Unsettle them with new technology, new process, new method of doing business, and therefore I personally feel it's a great.
Sir, I just wanted to tell you that audio quality is a little poor. If you want to, I was not able to hear you properly.
Okay. I'll use a microphone. Let me use the microphone. I think that may improve the audio quality. I was wanting to come via.
No problem, Mr. Pradeep Chopra. I'll come back to you. I'll quickly come back to you with a question. So probably you could prepare your audio by then because I could hardly hear.
Now can you hear me now?
Now
it's the better. Audio quality better.
Now it's much better.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Shall I repeat what I said?
Quickly, please.
Shall I repeat?
Quickly. Yeah.
What I'm saying is that, in the last, post-independence, we have faced many crises in our country, and we all emerged, winner after such crisis, whether it was crisis of 1991, when our reserve went down to $1 billion, or of 60s when we had a food shortage, or in 70s when we had a milk shortage, or, a defeat in 1962 from China, we emerged winner. I think this is a great opportunity for a newcomer, because immediately after the pandemic is over, there will be a tremendous shortage of goods and material, because the production and construction, everything is delayed and demand is increasing, and therefore there'll be a big demand-supply mismatch. That is the time when a newcomer should take the advantage of this demand-supply mismatch and launch their projects.
Thank you so much. So the message is clear that there will be opportunities that could build up on certain sectors due to the impact of COVID, and it is important for the Generation Z entrepreneurs to look out where you want to actually venture out and create and build those business opportunities. I think the message is very clear. Thank you so much, Professor Pradeep Chopra. I will now quickly make a statement and probably ask a question. I have been strongly thinking about the idea of online education. I just wanted to make this statement. Technology entered India 2 decades back, and education sector was not that much disrupted like other sectors. And in India, while speaking, online education is not a new phenomena. It's a subset of what we already have, which is distance education model. But mind you, we all know as educators that we never welcomed the movement of distance education. There was a pejorative word that was attached to people who were studying in distance education, and the employers were not ready to accept them as fully educated, fully skilled people to potentially become employable. But now I firmly believe that COVID-19 has the potential and is currently transforming our institutions and the learning experience. We are moving into what is called as a digital learning platform. But what we have now done is basically an emergency online teaching, not a full-fledged asymmetric online education model, which many institutions abroad have moved in that direction. So do you think, futuristically speaking, online education will become an integral part of education institutions, and going forward there will be institutions which will be giving an option for students to study online degrees? That is one of the questions also which is there on the chat box. So I thought I would blend both. What are your views? I would want all the panelists to reflect on this. We'll start with probably Professor Biswajoy, and then I will move to Rajeshwari Madam, and then I'll ask the same.
Professor Paddy, first and foremost, I will differ a little. I will say, see, there is a big difference between distance education and online live classes. Distance education is dependent on the resources that you have provided to the student, may it be online, may it be in the form of books. You may be providing some books, or you may be providing some lectures online, which you have provided to the students as resources, and you expect the students to see those or view those and learn those. So that is distance education, where you are only providing the resources and then maybe taking some exams, and on the basis of that you are getting the degree. Online live classes is totally different. It is still the live classes where students can ask questions. Only the medium is not straightforward. It is through a computer, through an online system, through a platform. So it is an online live classes. It is like the live classes, following the routine. The routine that is there for the normal classes, the same online live classes will be following a routine. So the students are actually learning right from the teachers. They are asking the questions to the teacher in that class itself. In that class, if possible, they are doing some hands-on experiment, maybe through some simulation software. So it is just the live learning. See, if you are talking about this, I will try to explain the difference. Like, say, for example, the library is there. Books are there. Library may be open 24 hours also. But will the students go themselves and learn from the books? No, it is expected you will be taking classes and then explain where from to study, which book to follow, which better for what. These things will be provided by you in the classes. So that is that is the reason you are taking the classes in spite of the books being there in the library as resources. Like that distance education, in distance education, you have got the resources are provided. But online classes will actually provide you the interface where you can interact with your teacher, interact with your maybe peers, and get the answer from your teachers, question him back. This live interaction is possible in an online live classes. Therein lies the difference. So I really believe the companies, it will be much better or easier for the companies to accept students who have gone through the live classes due to this pandemic, instead of accepting students who have gone through distance education. That is what my belief is. So I really believe that yes, students should not waste a year, should go for the universities, maybe 6 months, as you said, a semester, or maybe if needed a year. Doesn't matter if it is a 4-year course, if it is a 5-year course or a 3-year course, maybe even a year. Students might need to learn online, but that does not matter. After all, he is learning live from the teachers. He is learning the subject, learning the papers, and then only going out to exams and then sitting for the different placements.
Yes, Professor Rajeshwari.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Paddy, it's audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you said distance learning and online learning. I'm definitely differing with it. See, for example, the online learning, it's more interactive. For example, I'm teaching an elective course or I'm teaching a programming course. Okay, I don't only put a PPT or I just don't only speak. Okay, my students, because of this open source platform, there is something called open source platform, which all of us are enormously extensively using. Okay, the simulators and the virtual environments are accessible to all of us. The faculty and the students are in sync with the platform. Okay, if I'm teaching a course on artificial intelligence, which I do the course of artificial intelligence. I switch over for a flipped classroom wherein I talk about the algorithm. The same algorithm can be put on a Python environment and the student also implements the algorithm. I and the student both are in sync. It's a very interactive environment today. If you look at the innovations in teaching learning process, it's booming out now, and we are seeing the outcome of that. Okay, and for example, I'm teaching a programming course. The programming course is just not writing a program. The programming course is how the student debugs along with the faculty in sync. So the teaching learning process in this digital platform is, yes, interactive, provided both of us, that is the students and the faculty, are open-minded. Okay, that is point one. And point two, if you talk about can all the courses be done online? I don't say all the engineering streams. For example, the practicals, some hardware experiments definitely cannot replace a simulation. Definitely no. I have designed a circuit, I implement it, or I have designed a model of an automobile, I can simulate it. Okay, be it on rapid prototyping or whatever it is, I can simulate it. But definitely a hardware related laboratory cannot replace your simulation part. So it should be a hybrid model. I look into. If I look at all the engineering streams, I can look at some innovative practices and make a digital platform online learning very interactive. Plus, I need to have some amount of physical training also to be done. So I can look at a hybrid model. Okay, so for specific courses, I can go for digital. For some part of the course in that particular engineering stream, I need to go for a face-to-face mode only for experiments.
So you're basically arguing for a blended kind of a model,
Yes.
Which has the combination of some online classes and certain hands-on experiences which you would want the students to come to the institution and study. I think that's a fair point. Let me clarify. I think there has been what I meant to say was distance education, was a substitute for F2F model. You did not have students coming to institutions. Online education is going the same route. Students are, if you pursue the entire semester online, you're not going to have students coming to the classrooms, right? So when students are not coming to the classes, the idea of experience of learning may not be happening to that extent until unless you use, advanced teaching, digital platforms, which many institutions abroad are successfully using it. If you study the entire higher education platform, there are two countries where online degree programs have evolved very successfully. One is the United States, and the other one is Australia, where institutions are known for online degree programs. Like, for example, Deakin University has more than 60,000 courses which are offered online for students. And the cost of studying online courses is if not equal, it is in fact greater and costlier than FTF model. So there are great examples, for us to invite. My question was, do you foresee in the near future in Indian institutions to have another substitute to the mainstream, FTF model, like an online degree program? That was my larger question. So, I'll again come back to both of you, but I can just, I rephrase that question so that Pradeep Chopra sir can respond.
Yeah, you want me to respond?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, online courses are now getting accepted by the corporate world. And you see, at times when I have two candidates, one has done a course, totally online, and another person has done a course physically going to the university. At times, the corporate choice is the person with online courses. The reason is that 95% of the people are not completing their online courses if they are doing on Coursera. And if somebody has been able to do it, we consider him to be very much self-motivated, and we think that is a better choice than somebody who's one of so many people. So the corporate acceptance will give a big boost to online courses. And there are options in online courses that I have. You see, when there's a choice-based selection of the curriculum, then I can actually learn, let's say business from a professor in Harvard, and I can learn, law from Yale, and I can learn, English from Oxford, and so on and so forth. So I have a choice of learning from the best of the best and the world-class, people. So that is not possible in a physical classroom. And second is that, there are certain proprietary courses which are not available, which are like available only to people who has developed those softwares, and they are very restricted, particularly in our media science programs. So these are only available online. So they are not available physically. And the way things are moving and the way that technology development is happening, it is very difficult for a physical university to adapt that changes that fast, considering their bureaucracy and considering their processes involved. But in online space, it happens instantaneously. The moment it happens, something is introduced by the industry, there is already online course available for training the people who can come and join the industry. So therefore, I think shift will happen, and at least specialized courses where technology is changing very fast, online is the only way to go ahead. And so therefore, even after this COVID, you'll find online will become an integral part of at least professional training programs, where and the physical university will not be able to adopt and deliver that kind of change to the students coming in. So online will become a major way of imparting education, particularly in professional education.
Thank you so much, Pradeep. Your words are actually music to my ears, because I don't have a similar, but I do absolutely echo you largely, because I strongly feel that the online education is going to really disrupt the FTF model post-COVID. And I'm not saying this because what we are seeing that is happening, but there are 2-3 things which you really actually made you articulated beautifully. Online does not have any barriers to faculty. Any person from anywhere in the world can actually connect and come and take classes. I think when India as a country is actually having dearth of faculty, to be very honest, in all disciplines, we don't have well-trained, great faculty. I think online is going to substitute and help institutions to evolve on that front. Second, I also feel, as you rightly said, continuous education, which was never an integral part of our mainstream education, is going to take a huge fillip because of online education. Accessibility is going to considerably improve, but accessibility again is connected with another larger question is because there is a digital divide that actually exists in India. not everybody is accessible. We're all privileged. We're all, having access to internet, but it's not true that everybody and every student in every part of India is having access to internet. But I agree. Thank you so much for those wonderful remarks. We have in fact come to the end. But Rajeshri ma'am, you would want to quickly reflect on that one question which I asked at the end. I said, your views.
This online, what Mr. Chopra said, I agree. For some professional courses, like for example, say it, a data science degree, yes, online is definitely a substitute. I can go completely to an online if it is a course on data science, if it's a course on management, if it is a course on bioinformatics, like this specific courses. Yes, we can evolve. India can definitely come forward. It can par with US or Germany, definitely. But for specific courses, not for all the courses.
Closing remarks, Dr. Biswajoy.
Remarks, only one thing. I will request the students, or I will always suggest the students, it is not ever worth to lose a year. You come to a university, learn, and definitely the teachers are there to always try and help you provide the best. So maybe in coming 2 years, you will be in a position to choose that which industry will be the best for you. Industries will have a big shift. There will be job in different sectors which were not there, and there will be jobs losing out from different sectors which were making big. So these 2 years you have to go a little slow. Maybe these 2 years you have to learn new things and understand what is best for you in the new industry scenario. That is my closing remark.
Mr. Pradeep, there are two quick questions which students are asking. Is economic honors better or BBA as a career option? And there's another question connected to that. Can a student do BBA if he has done computer science in his class 12?
See, BBA can be done by anybody because BBA enables you to know all the aspects of starting a business. So if you intend at some point in time in your life to start your own business, BBA will help you. And because you know about finance, marketing, processes, HR, and so on and so forth. And as far as economic honors is concerned, again, economic honors is a very nice thing to do because it gives you a great perspective about how the finances and how you can become an expert in investment if you really want to go for business investment or you want to play in the stock market or you want to become an investment analyst or somebody at some point in time. It's a good subject to choose, and there'll always be a demand for analysts, and people would always want to take advice of people where to invest, which is the best asset class where I should invest my money and all that stuff. So it is again depends upon your choice. Yeah, where are you interested? Are you interested in becoming an analyst? Are you more interested in finance and how the economy is moving, or are you interested in starting your own business? That is a personal choice. So you should be able to decide. Somebody else can't give you an advice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pradeep. I'll just add on to that. BA Economics is also a bit more mathematical and quantitative in approach. BBA is you could reduce your quantitative aspects in BBA. So it also depends on how much, what kind of skill sets you have built, in pursuing your career choices. There's a last question. Will the government of India accept online degree post-COVID? If yes, is it possible for Indian universities to compete with international university since many of the international universities have adopted and have a better technology to deliver online degree programs? Any one of you can answer this question.
I was actually looking at this question. I've got a small point to answer. So, sure. His name is Marigoda. Am I clear? I don't know whether Mariagoda. Okay. So Mariagoda, one thing I will tell you. See, no university over here is directly telling you that they will provide online degree. It is not that. It is not the online degree. The mode of teaching is online due to this pandemic. You are going to have the regular degree because classes will be held regular for maybe if you are talking about engineering, 3 years of your career out of the 4 years you are going to have offline classes only. Only maybe up to 1 year there may be online classes. So it is just the class mode which is online. The degree is not going to be an online degree.
No. Professor Dr. Biswajoy, the question is a little different. if the institution offers an online degree, do you think the government of India is going to recognize it?
Yeah, I'm coming to it. To it. See, the thing is, right now, what I was answering was, universities are not providing you online degree. If you choose a particular online degree from a certain university, that is different. That is totally different. But over here, we did not discuss that. If you were discussing about online degree from some university, then yes, definitely, post-COVID, there will be a bigger trend there may be a bigger possibility of the government to allow the online courses rather what it was prior to the pandemic. So it is definitely a yes, government is going to definitely look into it from a broader perspective, definitely. But over here, the discussion was online mode of taking the classes.
Just wanted to tell you, many institutions have already started, many universities, which are institutions of excellence, have already started offering online degrees as we speak, in collaboration with Upgrad and in collaboration with, so institutions have already started evolving on that front. So it's a useful proposition. I will only say that the government and the UGC will radically change their perspective on online education going forward. And I think institutions will be encouraged to offer online degrees. But you are absolutely right. The quality of those online degrees in competition with the online degrees abroad will always be, India will always do the catching up work, because I think we are 20 years behind when it comes to technology that we need to adapt in terms of online education program. I hope this session was useful. I really extend my thanks to Professor Dr. Biswajoy, Professor Rajeshwari ma'am, and also Pradeep Chopra sir for coming forward and interacting with me. And I hope we have given some good information for students to make career choices. Over to you, Sanjeev.
Thank you, Paddy, for conveying a word of thanks to all our speakers. And my special thanks goes to Paddy and QS iGauge for holding this kind of a session. It brought about a great dimension from Mr. Pradeep Chopra also on entrepreneurship besides education. I think it was very useful for all the attendees. So to my dear attendees who've been attending this session, please make full use of this platform where we are bringing India's best universities at your home. All this while you would have to visit them. We've got the universities at your home. Please connect to them on WhatsApp, on a telecall, on chat, and connect with the admissions authorities. Get to know about scholarship offers. And we have now, I think from 5:30, we have another session where from 5 o'clock, we have another session where Vice Chancellors of top universities of India will be addressing. So I would request you, if you want, you can rejoin the next session. And thank you so much to everybody for joining in. Wishing everybody all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.